Last night at 2:13 a.m., I was holding my phone, heart racing, staring at a 19-year-old kid online flexing a Lamborghini, a car I didn't even dare dream about. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just scrolling, I was being drained. Every swipe, every double tap, every perfectly lit photo wasn't just entertainment. It was quietly taking a toll on my confidence, my focus, even my self-worth. I suddenly understood this isn't just about money. It's a system designed to make me feel small and behind. Like I'll never catch up, even if I work harder than most people. The most dangerous myth in personal finance isn't that money buys happiness. It's the sneakier idea that visible wealth equals real wealth and comparison equals information. That's not true. Most people aren't measuring their finances against reality. They're measuring a stage set, a collection of carefully chosen snapshots. That's why so many rational people end up in constant private battles. It's not laziness, and it's not lack of ambition. It's that every scroll quietly tells them your life isn't good enough. So they start punishing themselves quietly, spending less, wanting less, procrastinating more. I know that spiral all too well. Even if you talk about money all day, you are not immune. Even if you care about budgets, investing, and smart financial decisions, you still get hit with that heavy, crushing feeling. You can still feel like the dumbest person in the room with money. Still feel behind, like everyone else has a map, while you're holding a messy shopping list and vague advice. And the worst part is that pressure isn't just a thought in your head. To really understand why this feeling hits so hard, you must stop blaming yourself. And look at the environment training your eyes. I didn't grow up with a flashy stage of wealth. I went to public school, and high school was an overloaded stress experiment. Class sizes 200% over capacity. Hallways packed shoulder to shoulder, barely room to stand. So when I later entered a world that seemed casual and effortless with money, it wasn't just impressive, it was disorienting. It made me realize your definition of normal is rewritten fast. Rewritten by the room you're in, and the content you consume, and who you think you're supposed to be. That's why the comparison game is toxic. Once you attach numbers, your brain starts thinking math is objective, but it's not. At Vanderbilt University, 1 in 4 students comes from the top 1%. They come from the absolute wealthiest families. Think about that. In a classroom of 20, about 5 students aren't just doing okay. They are from the absolute wealthiest tier. So if you sit there feeling broke, inadequate, or behind, or wondering why others seem so chill with money, your feelings aren't an illusion. And it matters because your brain doesn't compare fairly. It only compares locally. You're not comparing to the national median. You're comparing to the people around you. That guy with the Maserati, the student driving a BMW, the embroidered outfits. That confidence comes from knowing rent, tuition, and emergencies. And bad career moves aren't life or death issues at their house. Let's be real about what that advantage actually means. Even if they never learned a single thing in their lives, they would probably be financially fine. Why? Because of networks, connections, parents pulling strings, cushy jobs waiting. That's a completely different game from starting at zero. Worrying about bills, avoiding overdrafts, debating whether to buy an extra cheeseburger or save the difference. So when social media amplifies that gap infinitely, it gets toxic. Now it's not just the 5 rich students in class. It's your neighbor Samuel with better corn, the California Trust Fund kid with a yacht, plus a 17-year-old showing off a $300,000 bank balance. Your nervous system treats it like a giant scoreboard. It doesn't ask if that money was inherited or borrowed, or if it was just staged, rented, or completely fake. This impulse is ancient. Humans have always compared things. Money, looks, status, even whose fries lasted longer at McDonald's. That instinct actually helped us survive back in the day. If Samuel's corn was bigger than yours, comparing helped you improve. It helped you eat better, sell more, and live better. It was useful, practical, and kept you alive. But now, the same neural pathways are hijacked by infinite scrolling, only showing you the absolute extremes of human existence. Back in the hunter-gatherer days, you only compared to the neighbor. So no, this feeling isn't because you are weak. And it's not because someone cracked a secret you missed. Most of the time, you're judging yourself by impossible standards set by people who started miles ahead of you, and then blaming yourself for falling behind. This isn't ambition, it's just corrupted math. Once you see that, the next question is unavoidable. If the scoreboard is broken, what should you actually measure? Here's something nobody tells you about feeling behind. It isn't first about salary, it's about position. It's about where you stand on the ladder of ownership. You can move from broke to high income and still feel poor because the game itself hasn't truly changed at all. Imagine a joke version of success. You strike it rich in some absurd business and become wealthy. You move into a top-floor apartment in New York. Your life looks like the ultimate money level up. Stunning views, expensive furniture, all the luxury trappings. From the outside, it looks like the finish line. But it's not, because your peers have changed. They aren't the ones you used to split gas and rent with. That's the trap. Most people think they're competing on effort. But they're not. It's a completely different game. Employees see founders and think they need to work harder. Founders see investors and think they need a better deal. Millionaires see billionaires and realize the real difference. It isn't taste, intelligence, or discipline. It's what they own while they sleep. One person sells time to survive. The other owns the machines that buy other people's time. So before taking action, just noticing this hides a lot of relief. You may not actually be behind at all. You may just be trapped in a comparison system. A system that completely hides the real hierarchy. Once you see it, the conversation changes. The important question isn't how rich everyone else looks, it's how you measure your own life. For example, I only saved $500 last year. Good, note it, and move on. It made me realize I was on autopilot spending, not conscious spending, which is great to notice. Third line. For the next 7 days, I'll transfer a fixed amount, first thing on payday, then use the rest. Or maybe you waited too long to start investing. Good, note it, and accept it. It showed me procrastination feels safe but wastes time. Third line. This Friday at 7 p.m. I'll set up an account, or increase my minimum investment to what I can afford. The point isn't to impress yourself, because regret really likes abstraction. Saying you are behind or wasted years is abstract. Abstraction is where shame performs stand up for free in your head. But a small action tied to a specific day or number. It's hard to romanticize, it's boring, but that's why it works. Another rule makes it effective. Notes in your moving forward log can't include insults. No calling yourself stupid or saying you ruined your future. No judging your past self. You're not writing confessions. You're writing instructions. Past you already spent money and missed opportunities. Delayed bills, bought stuff, and ignored budgets. The case is closed. Let it go. This shift matters more than people realize. Once guilt stops being a personality trait and becomes data, your behavior quietly changes for the better. You stop asking why you are like this, and start asking which specific action prevents this from happening again. It's less emotional, less glamorous, and infinitely more effective. Stack enough small corrections, and that feeling of being behind loses air. Not because life suddenly looks richer online, but because your money decisions start moving forward, instead of staring in the rearview mirror. That's where the pressure finally disappears. If you decide to stay home more and work less overtime, spend less, and grow slowly, that's a valid wealth strategy. if it protects your sanity and gives you space to keep moving. You can always pivot later. People forget you're not permanently trapped in one financial identity. I'm not promising mansions, miracle portfolios, or cartoon-level freedom. What I promise is much more practical. Stop measuring your life against people who don't bear your costs. Start making sustainable financial decisions. You give yourself something stronger than flexing money. You gain endurance, and endurance compounds over time. If you've read this far, I want to ask you something. What sacrifices are you choosing to stop making for more money?